Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, Zen Plays Roblox. Today, we are going to talk about top 10 worst video game consoles. But before you go into the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel to keep up to the latest videos today. So, let's start the list. Number 10, Ouya. We won't spend too much time picking on the Ouya. It was a crowdfunding project, so it isn't like there are people out there that thought this console was a good idea. On the surface, it sounds okay. It's Android powered and easy to develop for. It would obviously have a lot of free-to-play games, pay-to-win, and other types of freemium games. The Ouya also solved a major problem with Android mobile gaming. You could now play your games with the more familiar controller input device and a full screen from your couch. Unfortunately, the only people who seemed to want the Ouya were those that supposed to kickstart it. Even though the reviews for the console were decent, Ouya had a hard time attracting developers and selling the development kits, so the console had very little in the way of games. Razer eventually bought the Ouya's development team and their software assets. Number 9. Commodore 64 Game System. It's not much of a surprise this item didn't sell all that well. This was an attempt for the Commodore 64 computer to get a piece of the cartridge home console market. The thing is, the Commodore 64 computer had already some excellent games like Hot Wheels, Donald Duck's Playground, and a great Diana Sisters, but it was essentially a Mario clone that even had its own Mario hack. The Commodore 64 game system was released in 1990, which was just a bit too late, as Nintendo and Sega had already surpassed Atari and were completely dominating the console market. Anyone interested in the Commodore 64 for gaming probably already had a computer by this point. There was also an issue of finding protocols willing to develop for it, as Nintendo and Sega were the go-to system by then. Number 8. Sega Saturn. It's a shame that this beefy black box didn't sell too well, since it would mark the beginning of the end of Sega's decline on the hardware side of the console market. It offered a lot of excellent games that you couldn't find on the Saturn's major rivals, the Nintendo 64 and the Sony PlayStation, but most of these were arcade ports and not Sega Saturn exclusives. When it came to exclusives, the Saturn was quite lacking. There was Scud, the disposable assassin, Mad Props if you're familiar game, but even the then acclaimed comic book didn't offer much in the way of a great gaming experience. They also had Shining Force 3, an installment of an excellent Sega exclusive RPG series. What was noticeable lacking of Saturn's library? A proper Sonic game. That's right, the Saturn didn't even offer a Sonic game. What was the Sega thinking? Number 7. Sega Dreamcast. Here we have the Dreamcast, the final nail in Sega's console coffin. So Sega has gone on to develop software for its former competitors and Microsoft's Xbox. This would be the last console developed by one of the original big boys of the console market. Its downfall would lead to something we'd never thought we'd seen in a million years: Sonic games on Nintendo systems. We even saw some games that co-starred Mario and Sonic. In a way, there's a right side to the poor performance of the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast did have some amazing games though. They have a port of House of the Dead, one of the greatest arcade games of all time. Space Channel 5 was a great time. And you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't play Dynamite Cop. Jet Set Radio has even seen a revival in the live market for PC, PlayStation and Xbox. Number 6. Nintendo Virtual Boy. I don't think there's a surprise as to why the Virtual Boy never took off. First off, it was marketed as portable. It wasn't really portable as the VR headset didn't actually strap to your head. Instead, it was mounted on a tripod. You have to have a flat surface like a floor or a table. Second, it was entirely uncomfortable to use. Putting it on the floor and keeping your head at an unnatural right angle with your body for the amount of time it took to play a game was painful. You also had to deal with your head constantly pushing it forward and straying away from your eyes. Some gamers try refactoring this with duct tape, but you shouldn't have to bring duct tape to play a brand new game system. Third, it presents on the game only two colors, black and red. That's not a very good representation of the reality, even if it's not supposed to be a virtual. Number 5. 3DO Interactive Multiplayer. The 3DO wasn't really a console per se. It was actually a list of specifications that hardware companies could use to make their own consoles. The most popular of these hardware manufacturers was Panasonic, as many gaming magazines at the time often referred to it as the Panasonic 3DO due to the fact that Panasonic manufactured the first wave of consoles. Later, manufacturers like Sanyo and LG, then Goldstar, would manufacture their own 3DO consoles. The system was highly promoted in gaming magazine and Time magazine, even heralded the system as a product of the year in 1993. Unfortunately, the console market was completely oversaturated at this point, with Super Nintendo and Genesis being huge hits. There was also the Atari Jaguar, the TurboGrafx 16 and the Neo Geo to contend with. It didn't help that 3DO released some alarmingly terrible games, like the infamous Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Number 4. Action Max. The Action Max seemed really cool. It was also pretty cheap when you consider the cost of a console at the time. It was also the first console to have completely live-action games, as the console was really just a peripheral for television and VCR. The games themselves were on VHS tapes. Games like Pop Ghostly, a game about making your way through a haunted house, looked really appealing. Unfortunately, playing Pop Ghostly was like playing any other game on the Action Max. Every single game was a shooter. The console had no controller, only a zapper. Zapper didn't even actually shoot anything on the screen. It simply interacted with a light receiver that you stuck to your television screen. You didn't actually win or lose any game on Action Max. You shot at the light receiver or VHS tape played in your VCR. It was the equivalent of giving a very young child an unplugged controller to trick them into thinking they were playing a video game with you. The Philips CDI had its heart in the right place. The intention wasn't actually to make a PC game console, but to make an all-in-one device that had more functionality than a CD player that didn't cost as much as computers with CD-ROM drives at the time. If this sounds a bit familiar to you, you might recall that the Xbox One gets the one on its name from the fact it was intended to be a portable, all-in-one device. Unfortunately for Philips, they wouldn't see the same kind of success as Microsoft. Perhaps they were just ahead of their time. One odd feature of the CDI is it has its own exclusive Mario and Zelda games through a partnership with Nintendo. These games are widely considered to be the worst games ever offered by either franchise. Number 2. Atari Lynx. On the surface, there doesn't seem to be a good reason for the commercial failure of the Atari Lynx handheld. The device came out just a short time after the Nintendo Game Boy, and it was the first handheld gaming device to feature a full-color LCD screen. You'd think this would be a major selling point. Unfortunately, the Lynx couldn't compete with the game library of the Game Boy. The Lynx remained second in sales until Sega Game Gear came out. Even though the Game Gear was bulkier and had shorter battery life than the Lynx, the Game Gear had a more impressive game library and knocked the Lynx down to third. Despite being highly regarded and being credited with pioneering handheld gaming, note that distinction doesn't go to the Game Boy. The flag of games and lazy marketing campaign keep it out from the minds of gamers. Number 1. Commodore CD-TV. The last stop on the list is Commodore CD-TV. Much like the Philips CDI, Commodore CD-TV was also supposed to be an all-in-one machine that could single-handedly replace your CD player, game console, and computer. It also had the added bonus of connecting to your TV as opposed to sitting on a desk with a monitor. It could be enjoyed by the whole family at the same time. The CD-TV was essentially a Commodore Amiga 500 computer with a CD drive and a remote control. All your computer peripherals could be connected to it. Even though the device was an Amiga, it dropped the name for the CD-TV. It's very likely the Amiga name wouldn't have hurt the sale of the Commodore CD-TV more than the $1,000 price point. That's a hefty sum for a console today. The CD-TV was released in 1991. Do you agree with our list? If you ever agree, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to turn on the bell so you won't keep out the latest notifications from Zen Plays Roblox. Hope you have a great time. Bye!